right. Good morning, everyone. Hope you are all having a wonderful Thursday morning, or maybe it's not morning where you are, but welcome, everyone. We are absolutely thrilled to have you all here today. Obviously, you notice somebody that looks a little different sitting beside me on your screen today. We've got Mike.
Pretty as Isabel, huh?
We've got Mike joining us.
Good morning.
He is
Good morning, everybody.
Yes, he's my fellow co-founder, and I'm excited to have him joining us today. So we have got we always say this, but a power-packed episode for you this week. So let's just jump in. Let us know if you're watching. So we've got 19 people on right now. Introduce yourself. Give us the name of your church and the city you are joining us from here this morning. So we've got Douglas Recker. Welcome, Douglas. Glad to have you here down in Omaha. I was just there yesterday, flew into Omaha. So welcome. We are glad you're joining us this morning. And then we've got Ron Gardner. Welcome back, Ron. Glad to have you here. Good morning, Linda. Great to have you here with us. Ron is watching from Arizona. Beautiful. Love Arizona. Lived there for about 8 months. Absolutely loved it. All right, let's see. We've got Benjamin. Welcome, Benjamin. Good to see you back. He, anyway, reached out to us. I forget the name they gave you, Benjamin, but you're like one of our top commenters. And
top fan, huh?
Yeah, top fan. There you go. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
Welcome, Benjamin. We're glad to have you here. Let's see. We've got Douglas. Let's see. Mick Barish. Forgive me if I just totally butchered your name. We're thrilled to have you here, Douglas. Welcome. Let's see. Just a couple of others that are joining us. Oh, yeah. Prescott Valley. That was north of where we lived. Beautiful up in Prescott. All right, there's Benjamin again, Cornerstone Baptist Church, if I'm not mistaken. You're the first one. We're going to be doing some website reviews today, and Benjamin, you are up to bat. So, awesome. Yes, top fan. Gotta put that out there. It's awesome to have you here.
It's quite the accomplishment.
Yes.
You knocked my mom off the top spot. She was the top fan for years. So,
that's awesome. All right, Pastor Kip, good to see you here this morning, brother. Out in Linton, Indiana. All right. Well, it is so good to have you all with us. Sheila, welcome. Good to have you here. All right, so we are going to do, this is the first time we're going to be doing this kind of a unique episode, but we will be doing more of them. We're going to be doing some website reviews today. And we've had quite a few people submit their application for their website to be reviewed. So we're really looking forward to diving into that today. Because again, we just got a great session for you today. So if you haven't given StreamYard access, there's a link, I believe, in the description above or below. I can't remember off the top of my head here. But make sure you give StreamYard access. So if you have questions, we can actually see them and show them on the screen. And all of you are already way ahead of the curve because that's why we can see your faces. And again, welcome to a few people. Lenora, welcome. Anthony, welcome. Man, this is awesome. We've got a good group today here, Mike.
Awesome. Really cool.
Yes. All right. So just a couple of quick shout outs to welcome some new ChurchSpring family members. I love doing this every week. So we've got Mount Sinai Gospel Tabernacle Church from Cape Charles, Virginia. They joined the ChurchSpring family here recently. True Voices of Faith, Sunnymead, Moreno Valley. Did I say that right, Mike?
Yeah, Moreno Valley,
California.
Yep.
That's Mike's old stomping grounds out there in California. Historic Rugged Cross Baptist Church, Brooklyn, New York. And then Cascade Covenant Church, North Bend, Washington. We are just literally, just as a true privilege to be able to serve you. And we welcome you to the ChurchSpring family. Awesome. Well, for those of you who are new to ChurchSpring, if you are brand new to ChurchSpring, who are you guys? Just a quick, very fast overview. So ChurchSpring, we help churches build intuitive, affordable, frustration-free church websites. So that's our goal. That's what we do. Obviously, we have goals and a mission beyond that, but that is just how we really right now strive to serve the church, is by providing intuitive, affordable, frustration-free websites. So we are thrilled to be on that mission. Again, thank you all for joining. I'm excited about this episode. Super excited, because there's a lot of pastors out there. I mean, we get questions all the time about what do I do next? What's the next thing? How do I improve my church website? What needs to be done? I'm not a digital marketer. This isn't what I do for a living. So today our goal is we want to remove the guesswork on how to improve your church website to ultimately achieve whatever your number one goal for your website is. So you all know, for those who have joined us, and if not, if this is the first time you're watching, our goal is that we want to help you through your website achieve your number one outcome. So if that's growing your church, if that's communicating better to your existing church members, our goal is we want to help you do that. So before we dive in to our top five, so just quickly name off the ones that we're going to be reviewing today. So we're going to be reviewing Cornerstone Baptist Church, One Hope Christian Fellowship, College Corner Presbyterian Church, New Beginnings, Church of the Living God, as well as Springfield AME Church. So we are excited to dive into those and give you some actionable feedback. But before we do, like I said, there's a new face on ChurchSpring Live, and I'm excited to introduce you to him. I remember sitting at our dining room table, my dining room table, when ChurchSpring was just like this idea. And man, God has brought us on a journey. Yeah,
it's been awesome.
It's hard not to get emotional, just how God provided.
And
how God's led. So introduce yourself, Mike. Who are you?
All right, sounds good. So I'm Mike Curley. I am one of the co-founders of ChurchSpring. I am actually really excited to be with you today. I'll have to admit, though, and confess, I am also nervous. So when Ron said you're on next week, I think I've been nervous most of the week leading up to it. So if I pass out here, Ron, just keep going. And but it's good to see you. I'm excited to be with you. Co-founder and creative director at ChurchSpring. So I do a lot of the artwork, do a lot of front end programming, a lot of the planning, and kind of vision casting for the products and features. I am a husband and a father. I have a wife, Nadia, and 5 kids, 4 boys and a girl. So Noah, Isaac, Elsa, Weston, and Bennett. So Elsa's right in the middle there. She can go from like a tea party to a warrior in just a split second. So that's a fun family. So I'm excited to be here with you guys and hopefully bring a lot of value to you and your church. Super encouraged. When we're going through the reviews here, I was just overwhelmed with encouragement just to see the gospel present, to see the things that are a part of the heart of God, also a part of the heart of your churches. So I love seeing that, and it's great to serve churches like you guys.
Awesome. Well, we're super pumped to have you here. I mean, there's not a church that is here that uses ChurchSpring that hasn't been positively impacted by just the abilities that God's given you. So I'm excited to dive more, specifically into websites. This is going to be a fun episode. It's going to be a lot of fun to dive into these and give actionable things to get people unstuck. Yeah. So super excited about that. And we want you all to engage with us. You already started. That's great. So I'm just gonna keep rolling through the outline here. So, sure. Super excited to have you with us. We want you to engage. So if you have questions, ask. So if we get into something and maybe we weren't 100% clear, maybe it just didn't quite land with you, that happens with me a lot. I'm a very simple guy. So there's some really smart people out there that say that. I'm like, okay, that just didn't quite land in my brain correctly. So if you need clarification, if you have questions, definitely engage with us. Put your question in. Also, feel free to like it, love it. We've already got some. Already got some love coming in here this morning. There we go.
Another one,
yeah. There we go. This is awesome. So like it, love it, share it. If you have a friend or maybe there's a volunteer in your church that could really benefit from watching this episode, literally watching, and I say this in a loving way, watching kind of a breakdown of a site on how to improve it and make it more effective for your church, feel free to tag them. and maybe even text them and say, hey, go check out the ChurchSpring page and join us right now. So that would be awesome. In addition, we always say this, we're going to cover a lot of ground here. So there will be the replay available. Don't feel like you have to take impeccable notes. We are going to make this available. You can check out churchspring.com/CSL 013. Again, that's churchspring.com/CSL for ChurchSpring Live 013. And you can check out the replay. We'll have show notes. If there's any resources that we mentioned in the episode, we'll be sure to link those up there as well. So we are super pumped to have you with us today. So I'm just going to start off with this question. We kind of talked about it a little bit already, but have you ever felt stuck? Have you ever felt stuck on how to use your website to grow your church, or maybe even how to use your website to communicate more effectively to your existing members? So if you've ever put yourself or felt like in that category, if that resonates with you, type stuck, all caps. That'll let us know you were really stuck. Type stuck, all caps in the comments, and let us know if you've ever been there. And I know you've been there. I've been there. If I could really do 5 things at one time, I would put stuck in the comments, because, man, there's just been those times where it's like, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah.
What's the next step? What is that next thing that I need to do to accomplish the goal that I have? And it can be really frustrating. So, Ron, yes, you have felt stuck. Linda, I'm glad you're here, Ron, because we're going to be talking about your site today. So this is going to be awesome. Don, let's see, Don, they're coming in so fast. I'm clicking on them. They're popping up. Reverend Johnny, Jerry, Linda, yes, we've all been stuck. This is awesome. Terry, very good. But now you're unstuck.
Oh, unstuck. Yeah, that's good.
That is
awesome. That.
That is wonderful. Jason Drent, how you doing, brother? Full disclosure. Yeah, Jason goes to our church. So we're super excited to have Jason on here as well. It's going to be fun. All right. So we are going to get you unstuck today. That is our goal. We want to get you unstuck and give you a pathway to take your website to the next level and helping you accomplish your goal. So Mike and I, we're going to review 5 church websites today and offer specific feedback. So not like this really high level stuff that doesn't like technically land on the ground and you're like, okay, that made no sense to me. I'm not sure what specifically am I supposed to do. We're going to give you very specific feedback on how you can improve your church website. So if we don't, obviously we're only doing 5 today because we know these have been getting long. And last week I was in like turbo speed trying to get through all the content that we had. So we're going to review 5. If you'd like to have your website reviewed or considered to be reviewed in the future, we have an application process. We'll probably do this at least once a quarter, if not more. If you would like for us to consider reviewing your site. Now, if you've already submitted the application, you don't need to do it again. But if you're new and you haven't submitted the application, you can go to churchspring.com/review, and we will consider reviewing yours during another one of these episodes that we do. So, all right, are you ready to go?
Yep, let's do this.
Are you ready to hear actionable feedback that not only these churches can do, but I'm sure there's going to be super relevant feedback for you to take and improve your church website? If that's you, if you're ready to go, type "let's go." Otherwise, we'll just end the broadcast and like go start sipping coffee again. That's how we're going to roll here. So type "let's go" in the comments.
There we go.
And then we will dive in. All right. Ron's ready. Good. All right. So here's how we're going to do this. So we've got 5 websites, church websites that we're going to review today. So I'm going to name the site, where they're from, the goal, because ultimately our feedback, we want it to be wrapped around the goal that you're ultimately trying to achieve with your website. So full disclosure, we are very much multitasking over here today. So just bear with us if we have to pause for a second or whatever. So let me share my screen. All right, here we go. There we go. All right, so the first one that we are going to start off with here is Cornerstone Baptist Church. And I really want to not butcher this city name, but I know I'm going to. Matomedi? Okay, I just apologize in advance because I'm sure neither of those options were correct. But Minnesota. And we are super excited to have you as part of the ChurchSpring family. So you guys can check out that website. Again, it's there on your screen, cbcmn.org. And the goal for this website is, number one, get new members to reach new converts. So that is the goal for Cornerstone Baptist Church. And we've got some great feedback for you today. So I'm going to toss over to Mike to get us started.
Sounds good. Looks like you got it right here. Motto Meaty. Benjamin gave us a little breakdown there for us.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Benjamin, I also saw that you had a comment that you had cement blocks on the feet stuck. I have been there for sure. I've been doing this for 20 years, and man, those early years, even many times now, but the early years, holy smokes, it was so much to learn, so many things that I didn't know, terminology I didn't know. So hopefully we can help you out and pass on some wisdom to you guys that will benefit your church here. So Cornerstone Baptist Church, just to jump right in here, we spent some time reviewing each of these sites in depth, and I'm going to kind of give you some wins, some good things that you're doing, and then some things that I think will really help benefit kind of the impact of your church here. So the site overall looks great. I like what you've done. You made some personal images and upload those to kind of make the site your own. So custom images are really great throughout your site. The church photo in the background, if you scroll to the top there, Ron.
Yep.
I love how you did the church photo in the background. Actually, with the colors and everything, it's just a beautiful look. So everything, and actually the way that the image, if you notice that the church kind of frames the text there, it's just really well done. So it's a great image for the slider there. You also have a relevant slide. One of your slides is the COVID slide. So I think that's really neat how you're kind of leveraging the power of slides or the sliders here to really get some relevant information to your church. That's great too. Great content in your ministry section. You have personal morning devotionals you've done, which I think is incredible. I think it's great for both your church members and then also for visitors, just to get a sense of your heart, to see your personality, for you to do that on a daily basis, to take the time to do that, it was great. So that's really, really neat. So nice job utilizing also just the different features of ChurchSpring, especially the blocks. You've done a good job with adding a bunch of blocks throughout your site. So great job on all those things. Site looks great. I think you're on a wonderful path to begin with here. So great foundation to start with. There are a couple things that stood out to me when I was doing the review. So I'm going to give you those now. The logo, just a couple things on the logo. It's working fine. I don't think there's any major things with it, but if you do have a white version, I'm curious to see if you had a white version of your logo, if that might stand out a little bit more on that background. Sometimes if the background's kind of in the mid-range or darker range and you have a darker text on it, the readability kind of falls out a little bit. And I'm not sure if you have access to somebody to help you on the spacing of it. This is more of a graphics thing, but if you'll notice that the Cornerstone Baptist Church is really tight together. If you just space out the Cornerstone and then the Baptist Church, kind of put a little bit more space vertically between those, it might help the readability a little bit. That's more of a graphics thing. But if you have access to those files or somebody that can help you there, that might be helpful. But anyway, a white version, I'm curious to see if that would stand out a little bit more and give it a better readability there. So on the logo, you mentioned in your goal to reach new visitors. So navigation organization, I maybe suggest this. You have first-time visitors in the About Us there. It's towards the bottom. And if your goal is to reach new visitors, it might be good to kind of start kind of chronologically. You think about it more chronologically, your navigation, About Us, well, I'm a first-time visitor, and then you dig in deeper as you go along. So maybe moving that first-time visitor to the top of that menu, and then kind of moving down logically from there might be a good thing. I also noticed that you had your blog under the About Us, which is fine, but it might make more sense to me under resources, and we can help you. That's something that we'd probably have to help you transition over to the resources section, where we're actually working on a feature that'll allow you to move things between menus. We're not quite there yet. That'll be released as soon as we can get it out to you guys. But I think the blog makes a little bit more sense. and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, if you had some logic behind that or strategy behind that, but the blog kind of makes more sense under the resources section to me too. So those are a couple things on the navigation and organization that might be helpful for you. And then if we go to the some of the blocks, I'm trying to think. Oh, it's the contact us. If we go to the contact us, and then prayer requests, if you don't mind. Let me scroll down here.
Tag team in here. All right.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Very good. So there is a dark background, which is totally fine. But if you notice again, what I mentioned a little bit earlier about readability, so important. Let me maybe back up a second here. In design, there's always form and function. And when it comes to websites, function is always more important than form. And so if you think about design is really kind of the plate that you're delivering up the content. So it should be more in the background and supporting the content. And it really should take a back step to the content that you're delivering, information that people are seeing. And so in this case, we have a darker background with some darker text on it. There's a feature when you're logged in, there's a little color feature at the bottom of this block. We call them blocks. So the gray area here, there'll be a little color menu. If you hover over that color menu, you'll see little color sliders and some choosers, some swatches you can choose. At the bottom right of that menu, there is a white and a black font color. So you can just simply hover over that menu in this block here and click on the white, and you'll see that the white text on this dark gray background will be a lot more readable. It's not bad to have a dark background, but if there's a lot of text on a dark background, and especially if it's dark text, it makes it a little bit harder to read. So, and I'm seeing you got a reply here too.
Yes.
Happen when you switch to the Galilee. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Makes
yeah,
sense.
and that's the thing. Some of these designs are pretty, they have pretty strong design elements. So Galilee is a great example of that, where it's definitely more of a very curved, very fresh new design. So sometimes blocks too, you really have to look at them and say, okay, do you even want that block background, right? So you may actually just want to make this white, so not even have a color back there. So it just looks and just flows better instead of having like this curved look within this really super straight. And again, we're giving design, very specific design feedback right now, but that does impact the viewer.
It does.
If somebody comes to your site and it's hard to read, so it's like, well, okay, connect the dots between, why is design important? Well, ultimately, what Mike shared as far as it kind of being the plate, I think that's a really good example. But ultimately, if people come to your site and it's really hard to read or difficult to navigate, or they don't find what they're looking for right away, they're going to leave. They're going to abandon the site. And that is not what you want to have happen. If you actually want them to walk in the door to your church, you want to make it super easy for them to be able to find what they're looking for on your website, and make it super easy for them to read, to actually educate themselves on what you're all about. So great feedback.
Yeah, that's good. And I saw you mentioned that you just kind of hadn't got to that spot there. And there's actually a couple of other sites we'll mention this on here too. If you did want it to stand out a little bit different, so I want to point this out. It might be something you overlooked. It sounds like when you switch to this design, you haven't got to this tab yet. But if you do want to make a distinguishing move between the services bar at the top there and then your content below, just even a simple light gray, like really, really subtle light gray, will help your readers kind of understand that this is the block or the change or transition from this content that I just took in to the next content. So I like to do little simple switches from like a white color to a very, very light gray. It's super subtle. You might not even notice it really, but as you're scrolling through, believe it or not, it's kind of something that helps you just digest the content a little better. And by the way, nice job on the Let's Pray For You, this little block here. I think that's a really neat thing you're doing. So that's overall for this. I would say great work. It's looking really nice. I'm muted. It looks like I got muted there.
Yeah, there was like a popping sound with the mic, and then you were gone. So anyway,
okay, sorry about that.
You're good now. No worries.
I was just saying overall, really good job. Love the way that you're kind of leveraging the features, the blocks, and everything like that to really customize your content. So great job.
I think we may need to, just switch to your regular.
Okay, sounds good.
Your regular mic. Sounds like that one's not liking you very much.
Yeah, it just keeps on switching. I don't know if I'm bumping it. You can hear me okay now?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, sounds good. So
awesome.
Yeah, the question came in if you can rewatch it. Yeah, we definitely can rewatch these after the live feed. So
yeah, absolutely. And that's available, churchspring.com/CSL 013 here. Awesome. So one of the quick things I wanted to say, and Mike, before I jump in, any other thoughts here?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So one of the things that I would highly encourage you to do is think through strategically. It's very easy to start disconnecting like a real life experience when you start doing things online. It's almost like we make it more complicated than it needs to be. So what I would encourage you to do is look at some of these foundational pages. Mike gave some great thoughts as far as like adjusting your navigation a little bit. One of the things that I even recommend, so about us, that's kind of a standard thing. You may even want to try even doing some things like I'm new or, things like that, just so they know, okay, this is for me. I'm brand new. I have no idea about your church. I've never been there before. I know when I say I'm new, this tab is for me, and the content underneath this tab is going to be exactly what I'm looking for to kind of walk them through. So one of the things that's a great resource or a great tool that you can add, and maybe even to each one of these tabs, is a video. So seeing words on a screen is great, and they can kind of break it down. But video is a powerful tool that you can leverage on your church website. So if you imagine it of like somebody walking up to you on the street, or you walking up to somebody on the street and introducing yourself, right? So that's virtually what your website's doing. So as you look at your what to expect, wouldn't it be amazing to have, and you can use literally, again, the camera that you have in your pocket, your smartphone, and actually do like a video walking into your church. Like, hey, we want you to understand what this is going to be like when you come to your first time visit to Cornerstone Baptist Church. Here's, where things are, to basically just take any level of anxiety that they have about attending your service and trying to remove that and put that far from their mind so they can come to your church for the first time feeling comfortable. Where do I park? Do you have Sunday school services? Do you have childcare? Where are the bathrooms? What, those kind of things, what to expect.
Yeah.
That can really help you achieve your goal, which is ultimately getting new members, which is having new people come to your church in the first place to see if it's a good fit for them, and then ultimately join the church and start getting involved in your church. So I would highly recommend, you've done a lot of great things. First of all.
Yep.
Number one, you have done a lot of really good things. There's a lot of really great content. You've done some amazing things on here, as Mike has shared. I would just say now it's time to take those good things that you've done and kind of take them to the next level, which would be, all right, let's look at adding videos to your leadership pages where your pastor can introduce himself, or your leadership team. Really thinking about how can you integrate video in to make it super easy for them to walk in the door.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And maybe just the last thing for me too, the resource section. I love what you're doing, the resource section there. One thing that I saw on the 30-day challenge, which is really cool idea, by the way. If we go to the 30-day challenge, you'll notice sometimes when we use text, we'll talk about readability again here. You have quite a bit of bold text here. So maybe just unbolding that and using bold when it really needs to emphasize something would be helpful. It's just one of those things that helps a person kind of take in the content, digest it a little easier. So yeah, but I love the content. Love what you're doing with the resource section. It's really cool.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we are going to go a little rapid fire today, just because we've got 5 sites to cover.
Yeah.
So looks like Benjamin, I really hope that was helpful. If it was, and even if it wasn't, if this isn't your site, but man, some of that information was super helpful. Let us know that. Put yes in the comments, just so we know that you found something, at least one thing that you can take action on, even on your church website, even if this isn't your church website. So type yes in the comments, and we're going to go ahead, unless Mike, any other thoughts on that one? Otherwise, we will, let me get that banner off here and start getting the other one ready. So any other last final thoughts there?
Nope, I think that's good. Yeah, and feel free to reach out by the support ticket if you need clarification or something like that. We'd be happy to help too. So
yes. Yes. All right. So next on our list, let me get everything up here. We have got One Hope Christian Fellowship from Dewey, Arizona. All right. This is great. So the number one goal the One Hope Christian Fellowship would like to achieve here is getting more views. So getting people to their site, getting traffic. Ultimately, I would. This is probably where my first tip would come in. Actually, yeah, my first tip would come in would be to really think about that goal. So yes, a view is great because it's measurable, it's specific. But what is the outcome that you really want to have happen from that view, right? So is that I want to get views from existing church members so I know that they're actually reading the blog posts or coming to the events to find out what's going on? Is that the type of view you want? Or are you really looking for people to find your site, but ultimately you want them to walk in the door? So then really your goal would be, I want to see more members or new people come and visit our church. So that would be one just kind of quick feedback right out of the gate would be. So maybe if you can even give us some clarification on that, that would be great. I think this is, if I got this right, I think this is Pastor Ron's church. Let me just bounce over here. Yes, Ron Gardner. All right.
Perfect.
So Pastor Ron, if you can give us maybe a little, yes. Okay, walk in. Yes, indeed. That's what he's looking for. So let me just put that up here. So yeah, so ultimately the goal. So that's good. We're gonna maybe adjust a little bit on the fly here. So your goal isn't just to get a view of on your site, right? You actually want to get people walking in the door there of your local church. So that is great. All right, Mike, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, sounds good. So this is another Galilee design. The last one was Galilee, and this is Galilee. What I love about this is you've used some of the customization to really make it look quite a bit different. So first thing I see when I come to your site here is this beautiful photo, and I'm assuming this is your church, but a great photo for the homepage here has impact, but also kind of gives me an idea of what to expect as you guys gather as a local fellowship there. It's really great. So I love the photo you've done there. The content is really good, especially when you explain the vision of your church on your homepage. And I was just thinking as I was reading it, it's really God's vision. I'm encouraged to read, just like I said at the beginning, I'm really encouraged to read through our customers' sites. And, you know, in a day and age where we lose grasp, or churches lose grasp on the gospel and God's word, it's so great to see churches who are united with God's vision. I think your church expresses that really well in the content. So great job on the content there. And also saw that you're using the automatic Bible verse pop-up. I'm not sure if all you guys know about that, but we have a little feature in the settings area where you can turn on kind of automatic Bible detection. And so if you type in a verse just in your content, hit save, when you hover over that verse, then a little pop-up with the reference counts. It makes it really easy for your visitors. I'm not sure if you guys are like me, but when you're reading through content, it makes it really nice that you have to go to your Bible app or open up your Bible and try and find that verse to see in context what you're talking about. So it's really nice to have that available. So great job leveraging the features of the platform here. It looks good. There's a couple of things that stood out in the review and hopefully it helps improve your site's performance. There's some background colors that we want to look at here. So you've chosen some background colors, which is great. If you scroll down here, you'll see that some of the colors are different, some from the color palette and some that you've chosen also on your own, which is fine. And it kind of goes back to a thing we mentioned on the last review or the last website, was that darker text on a darker background is hard to read. And so you want to probably switch that to a light font. So again, the bottom of that block, there'll be a little color menu. Hover over that, and you'll see in the bottom right of that menu, there's a black and white text color change. You can just click on the white, and it's just simple like that. It saves it automatically for you. So I think whatever you see some of that throughout your site, I think it would be best to switch to a white font. Also consider that, just like we talked about in the last one, you might just go to a lighter color as well, especially when you have long blocks of text, okay? If it's just a short block of text, that's not a problem. Kind of like the homepage one here, that might be about as long as you'd want to get with a dark background. If you get really long pages, I mean, like pretty long, where there's multiple pages worth of scrolling and dark background, it can be actually pretty fatiguing on your eyes. And you get tired, even though the content might be great, but you, as a viewer or reader, might start to disengage a little bit, not really know why. And it's because you're starting to get fatigued as you're reading through. So you really want to make sure it's readable for the viewer. So that's something to consider when you get to longer blocks of text there too. So, and let's see here. Logic pages, sermons, event. Let's go to the sermons and events. This is actually a good example of that. So yeah, it doesn't matter which one you go to. I think, and then actually you have Pastor Ron's blog too. I was reading through, which is great.
Okay.
And it looks like this one's okay now. Let's see here. Yeah, so this is an example where a lot of text on the page, a lot of scrolling, and so a white background is good. Let's go to the sermons then. This may have changed. Okay, yeah, so this may be one you want to switch to a white or light gray. They both would work, but white would probably be best. Again, because you're scrolling through a lot of content, you want to make sure that the content you're delivering, which is your sermons, is the thing that really stands out to the viewer. And then just because it's a longer page, sometimes the darker backgrounds make it a little harder to digest everything. So a white background might be better on a longer page like that. And then let's see here. I think the same thing on the blog. We can go to the blog section too, Ron, if you don't mind. Yeah.
Let's see this one.
Yeah. So same thing here.
Pastor Ron?
Yeah, let's do Pastor Ron's blog.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we give you some swatches when you hover over the content. There are some swatches that are actually a part of the color palette. So you might it's an easy way to choose a color that works well with the color palette you're on. But this is another example where probably be best to do a lighter background, just because there's a lot of content, a lot of text to read, and it'll help stand out, help the text stand out. So that is pretty much it. Everything else looks really good. I love your custom photos that you've been doing throughout, really making the site your own. Again, helpful. Ron mentions doing videos and pictures like you have on your homepage. I think for new visitors, I think that would be amazing because this photo here gives you a great feel of your church. You imagine
it sounds like this photo is actually not his church.
Oh, okay.
I think you put that. So that would be a recommendation, right?
Yeah. If you can get, and you know what, these days, like Ron's been saying in multiple episodes, these phones these days take amazing photos. Just take a ton of them. Stand back, different angles. This one is actually really nice because it's not incredibly busy. You don't want too busy of photos behind the text. And yeah, it just really is a great example of giving somebody an idea of what the church might be like. So just have somebody during one of the services take a bunch of photos. And you can do multiple services. You will find a couple photos that will work really well. Do some
yeah, go ahead. Use this photo. Obviously, you like this photo. That's why you've used it on your site, Pastor Ron. So even whether it's you or somebody else, say, I want a photo like this.
Yeah.
Like, so they can kind of see a model of what you're looking for to really represent your church well. So I think that's great. A couple of other, did you have any last things? Otherwise, I've got a couple I wanted to.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. So first thing, site looks great. I mean, you've done an amazing job. I know you've been here, you've been learning, and you've been implementing, and that is so awesome, Ron. So keep up the great work. Just want to encourage you there. The thing that I would encourage you with is mobile first. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times when we're editing on our computers, like that's what we think about. But in reality, depending on your area, but upwards of 70% of the people that visit your church website are actually going to be viewing it on a mobile device. That's just the reality of the world we live in today. More people have these and have internet access available on their phones and these devices than they do on their computer. So what does that mean? Why is that important? Well, what that means is it's really important that when we look at content, that it's more about smaller chunks of content, right? Because if this looks long, I forget which page we were just, this section right here. If this feels a little long, or, maybe even another section, well, imagine what that feels like on a mobile device. And what I would encourage you to do, everyone listening, not just you, Pastor Ron, but everybody listening, is to actually pull up your phone on your mobile device and navigate it like a person that, act like you're a person that doesn't know anything about your church. What's difficult? What's difficult to read? Where's there too much content that it can be more concise? But content chunking is what we call it, is super important. So one of the areas specifically that I would tell you that I would recommend shortening up would be some of these sliders.
Yeah.
Like these different areas, I would maybe have 2 sentences, like a kind of a 2-sentence max here. Short, powerful, and then put a button. Like if you need to communicate more, because ultimately what you're trying to do is you're trying to communicate more information. Well, that's not bad. Like that's not bad at all. But give them a little snippet of it and then give them a call to action to go to another page on your site where then you get more exhaustive in whatever that content might be. Like, for example, COVID. We've seen some churches who literally, I mean, I don't even know how many words are in it or characters, but there were a lot just in a slider. It's like, no, that's not the way to do that. Just put COVID update, find out the latest news about blah, 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 whatever our church is positioning or what we're doing in response to COVID. Click on, learn more, put a learn more button. They can click learn more, and that can take them to the page where they can find that out. But this is so important, Ron, when it comes to achieving your goal. If 70% are going to view your website on this is the front door to your church, not the door to your church. This is the front door to your church. This may be the only part of your church that some people ever see, is your church website on their mobile device. So with that in mind, go check out the site on a mobile device. What needs to change? What content needs to be shrunk down? To Mike's point, and we're going to echo this all throughout it, video is one of the most underutilized tools for your church, specifically when it comes to reaching new members. Sure. Okay. So use and leverage video. Now, just one last tip, and then I'm going to be done on this because we got to keep rolling. But one tip that I would give you is don't try to overproduce these videos. Literally, do not try to overproduce these videos. Many churches don't do it because they can't do it perfect. They look at all these other standards of churches using videos and like, I can't do it like that, so I'm not going to do it at all. Do not do that. Don't do that. Literally, if it's your phone and maybe a little desktop tripod, which we've talked about in a previous episode, or if you want to know which ones we recommend, you can reach out to us and support, and we're more than happy to share that with you. But just do it. Done is better than perfect. Like we've talked about in a previous episode, imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. So take action. Use the video. Literally, even if it's you holding your phone like this saying, hey, my name's Pastor Ron at One Hope Christian Fellowship. I would love to have you join us this Sunday. Here's what you can expect when you come here. Literally something that simple you can do and you can use to get you going. So let's see. How can I upload a short video to the site? So Mike, you want to talk about that? Otherwise, I'll just give the quick.
Sure. We usually like to do is upload the videos to YouTube. So if you have a YouTube channel, it's great to have all your videos there. So we'll upload the video to YouTube, and then you can simply just click to edit the block, and then there's a video, an icon to insert the video there. And you hit save, and the video shows up as a player in the page. So start with Vimeo or YouTube, and then come over to the site and paste in the embed code. So, and I would recommend
YouTube at least to get started. A lot of people don't know this, but YouTube's is the second largest search engine on the planet next to Google. There's a ton of searches that are done in YouTube. So having your video on YouTube can help your church because people are going to be searching there. And then also you can take that video, embed it on your site. And again, if you have questions on that, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We have tons of help documentation, as well as our customer success team would love to help you get those videos on your site. So everyone listening, right there is a specific action item that you can take even this week. I mean, literally, you could right now, well, maybe not right now because you're watching us, but right after this, pull up your phone, hit record, upload it to YouTube, embed it on your site, and you will be up and ready to go. So I think we hit the mark. Pastor Ron is saying bravo. So awesome, brother. Hope this was super helpful. And again, great job.
Yeah.
This is excellent. Great job. You're doing a lot of the right things. Now it's just time to kind of take that next step. And I think content chunking, Mike's given some really good advice, and really, as you look at that content on your mobile device, I think that's even going to amplify the need. So look at it on a mobile device, implement some of those best practices that Mike's talked about on the design side, really think about video. And I'm going to stop there. I could keep going, but I'm going to stop there. But keep up the great work, Ron. You're doing an incredible job of taking action on what we have talked about in previous episodes. So
there's one other question I'll address as you go. So Austin Church has asked if there's a template. I'll just address this really quick. If there's a template that you can put in content and then click read more to expands the bullets, that's a great idea. So you're kind of implementing what Ron was saying, starting with shorter text. If people want to learn more, they can click read more. We don't have a template that automatically expands, but what I would suggest there is just starting with a block, adding a learn more or read more link. And when you click that, it would take you to a separate custom page where you have the full content. So that might be a way to do that. I think that'd probably be the best.
Yeah. And really what we're talking about is content architecture, right? So what is the flow of people through the content on your site? And a block is not necessarily meant to be, paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs of content. There may be times where that's the case, but typically the first introduction is a snippet where then they click and go through. So hopefully that is helpful. All right, let's bounce over to the next one here. Let me get my mouse under control. All right, so we're going to walk through. Let me scroll to the top. We are going to talk about College Corner Presbyterian Church in College Corner, Ohio. I didn't even know this was a place. I'm an Ohio guy, man. I know. I didn't even know College Corner existed. This is awesome.
Here we go.
Yes. I'm not saying I wasn't even going to go there.
I think we should go back to all the episodes and just count up the amount of times that Ron doesn't mention the Buckeyes here.
It would be less than 13.
That's good. I'm excited about this one. So let's dive in here. I know we're getting long here on time. So
yes.
First of all, you've done a really nice job again with the custom images. I think this is a stained glass window from your church, which is amazing. I love history. I love seeing old architecture and stuff like that. So it's really neat to kind of look through your site and see those custom images of your church there. So you've done a really good job on that. Your sermons page, if you want to click over, Ron, and look on your sermons page here. Just a great use of imagery there. And the what to expect page, that's really clean. You see the text stands out. You can read it really well. What to expect has another example. This one I really like because you've chosen a image that's very clean and simple so that I can look at the text there. And also what's really neat about this one is you've chosen an image that has a color that works really well with your color palette. So really great job on that one. So great job on the custom images. And also writing your site, I think there's a lot of really wonderful content. It's really easy to read through and digest and take in. The What We Believe section is really cool. I love how you formatted it based upon the Westminster Catechism. That's something different I haven't seen before. And you had a short version of the Westminster Catechism. So that was really good to see if you want to click there. Again, really easy to digest, sectioned out and laid out really well, where I know as I'm reading down the next section, okay, I'm moving into the next section, moving to the next section. So great job on the content and formatting your content. It's really easy to read there. Pastor Jeff, if you're listening, sounds like you've been on an amazing journey. I was reading your bio. It's kind of neat to read that. You ran cross country. I also ran cross country. You did in college. I didn't, but it sounds like you've been around the world quite a bit. So it was fun to read the content on your site. And really, I love this on your leadership page here. You wrote this. I just want to share this with everybody. God's providence. By God's providence, Pastor Jeff was raised in a Catholic family, went to a Methodist school to become a Baptist, and went to a Baptist school to become a Presbyterian. So you've been on an amazing journey, been all through the flavors of Christianity. So just wanted to say your content's great. You're doing a great job on the content there, and the way you formatted things are really good. So let's look at a few easy changes, I think, that can make a big difference on your site. Let's go to the homepage, Ron, if you don't mind. We're going to talk about readability here. So while I love that stained glass window, this is an example where I'll talk about readability quite a bit, but busyness can be really hard. If you use text on a busy background, it can make it hard to read. And while this is a beautiful image, I might use a close-up image like this, maybe in a slider like this worship slider we're seeing here, more in the foreground photo and less in the background photo. You've used another picture of your church. I can't remember exactly where it was, but I saw it on one of the secondary pages, and it was in the header. And it was zoomed out so you can see the stained glass windows, but it was zoomed out in such a way where it wasn't as busy. So yeah, here it is. This is a good one. So you can see the stained glass window, which is a feature of your church, and that's great. But if you look at how much easier it is to read the word history there, and I think if you did something like this on the homepage, it would really be helpful for readability. So think about that when you guys are doing these homepage or background images. Try to pick images that are catchy to the eye. That's important. But again, design should support the content. It shouldn't come out to the foreground and lose the functionality of the site. And if we can't read it, then obviously you're not getting across the message. So find the photos that really kind of are more subdued, less busy. And I would use a photo like this. It's a great photo, but more in foreground, maybe an event or a call out image in the content that the content wraps around. Like if you had a history page of your church, you could do, I think you do on this site. You guys reading through that. But anyway, so that's something to think about there. Also, let's see, I think this is on the, if you go to the About section, Ron. I don't know if it was what to expect. Let's see here. Yeah, this is good. This is perfect here. So you can notice on this, the headers are spaced a little bit weird. So you usually want the header to separate quite a bit from the text below it. So if we scroll down, and the word faith there is a great example, family and leadership, all great things. But usually what you want to do is have the header separate from the text above. So you have space under family, for example, you have quite a bit of space between the text that happens below it. It almost feels like family is a part of what was above. So I would probably go to the end of each paragraph. So click to edit when you're in the logged in, click to edit the page, and at the end of each paragraph, hit a return or two under each paragraph, and that will really help you space out the content. And again, it's for readability and the ability to just kind of process all the information that a visitor, as they read, it helps you to process the information a little bit easier, understanding that you're jumping from one section to the next there. So that's just a easy fix. If we go to ministries, worship, the worship header, I want to take a look at that. And there's a feature we have that allows you to change the opacity. I'm kind of seeing a cross image in the background there. And I think it would probably be nice to log in and then hover over the color menu or the background menu, I think it is, and then you can change the opacity. Actually, it's a color menu, that's right. There's a color menu, hover over it, and there's an opacity slider. I would just pull that down a little bit. You may have chosen to pull up the opacity because this might have been a busy image, and that's one way to subdue an image is to make it more opaque or not as see-through or transparent, so you can slide it up and push back the image a little bit more. But I think this one's maybe pushed back a little bit too much. It'd be nice to, I'm almost intrigued to figure out what is actually happening back there. So that maybe just hover over that one, change the opacity a little bit so you can really see the image shine through. Let's look at ministries and small groups. And I'm assuming you're still working on this, but there's no content I noticed here. Same thing, you could probably do the opacity slider to have the image show through, but just kind of work through. If the site's live, it's always good to make sure that you've run through the whole site before you get it live. Run through the whole site, make sure you have the content that you need. I'm actually really, I love small groups. And if you guys have information on small groups, I would love to hear about it. So I'm curious to see what you guys do in your church for small groups. I know that you have them, but because the content's there, I'm not exactly sure what the format of small groups or what's all involved there. So lunch bunch, let's go to that. Ministries and lunch bunch. This sounds fun, actually.
Makes me hungry.
Yeah. So what's really cool, I'm going to point out something here. You have an image at the top. It's maybe a little bit busy, but again, you can do two things. You could either choose a different photo, or I think in this case, you might be able to just change the opacity, make it less opaque. So use the color overlay to push, to kind of subdue the image a little bit, and it'll make the lunch bunch a little bit more readable. But what I like what you've done is you've chosen actually a color that's in the image. So that looks nice. It kind of helps pull the colors together. But if we scroll down to the very bottom, you'll notice that the color you have chosen there is different from the color palette that your design is using. And so there's a little bit of a kind of a, I guess you'd say, a clash between those colors. And so I'd maybe recommend two things. If you really like those colors, maybe this is one of those instances where you chose this color and then switched to a new design or switched to a different color palette and you just haven't made that change yet. But if this is the color you'd really like to use, I'd recommend two things, maybe doing, or one of two things, maybe adding another block below this blue section and maybe a call to action or something like that, and just do a white background so there's some separation between that blue and the footer blue that's a little bit different there. That will help, but ultimately it'd probably be best to try and select a color that works consistently with your color palette. And again, if you want to select one of those colors, you just hover over the color menu, and we have a bunch of swatches that are associated with those color palettes, and you could choose one of those if you want to make it quick and easy. So otherwise, you can choose a custom one as well. That's there. Let's see here. Walk to work. Let's go to that. I'm trying to remember what that was. Ministries walk to work.
Yep. There we go.
Yeah. Really cool. This reminded me of, I'll say this plug real quick. If you guys haven't seen the documentary Godspeed, if you go to Vimeo and just type in Godspeed, it's an amazing documentary. Your content here reminded me a lot of this documentary. I love it. If you guys are wondering what it's like to engage your community for the gospel, that documentary is really helpful. What you've written here was helpful too. Kind of gives you an insight or example of what it looks like to just redeem your life for the gospel of Christ in your community. Walking to work is one of them. Praying as you go to work, trying to engage with whoever God brings across your path, not thinking that I've got to get to work, but maybe I'm walking to work because God wanted these people to interact with me, or God wanted me to interact with these people. And so the walk to work section, I love that. I think it was really good. I think it's a great example for your church, maybe even a challenge. If I'm not correct here, correct me, but it's been a while since I read that section, but it might be just kind of, you gave an example of what you do, and maybe just a call to your church. Hey, consider walking to work yourselves, if you live in a small community like you do here. So that was good. I'm gonna see if I had anything. I think that was just a note. So overall, those are the suggestions I had when reviewing your site. Content's great. Yeah, 6 acres section was really fun to read. So yeah, you've done a great job. Hopefully those things are pretty easy changes for you. I think they're simple changes, and it can make a big difference for your church.
Agreed. Honestly, I feel like you've nailed it. One thought would be, you talk about your goal. So I actually missed saying that initially, but it's fluidity and communication. So I'm going to assume that this is communicating to the existing church members. If that's not mistaken and it's communication, otherwise let us know. But I think just in general, if you don't have a church logo, consider having one done, whether it's a volunteer at your church or otherwise. Part of good visual communication is consistency, and branding, which your logo is kind of part of your church visual brand, is really a powerful tool when it comes to communicating the message. It seems like, I'm thinking about words. I'm not thinking about visual communication, because visual communication is important as well. So really consider having that logo there. And then and I'm not going to echo this like we said earlier, but this idea of look at it on your mobile device, knowing that the majority of the people who visit your site are going to visit on a mobile device. Definitely check it out. Are there areas that you need to shrink up the content, chunk it maybe in a different way? I would encourage you to do that as well. But ultimately, great job. Yeah. And I totally echo what Mike said. Love these pictures. Love the imagery. When it comes to those big images, you just want to get images that are not as busy. So as beautiful an image as this is, there's still ways to make it work, but just kind of really look at how to simplify that image. But awesome job. Really great site. Excited to have you part of the ChurchSpring family. So
it's good.
Awesome. All right. Well, let me switch banners here. If there's any questions, again, if you have questions as we're talking about this, feel free to add them in the comments and we will address those. And I know we're, like always, we're at an hour, so we're going to keep trucking here. Yeah. So we've got New Beginnings Church. Yeah. And real quickly, just kind of the overview here. So this is New Beginnings Church of the Living God in Cincinnati, Ohio. I promise we did not pick all the Ohio churches. This is how it came in. Maybe because we've mentioned it so much in the transcript, we're attracting Ohio churches. I don't know. Praise the Lord. So anyway, their goal is better attention from visitors. So Mike, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is good. So this is the Acts design. I like the combination. This is one of the first times I've seen the blue and gold color scheme with this design. It actually looks really nice and clean. So great job on selecting a color palette. I think it's a good choice there. And you'll see on the secondary pages with this color palette you've chosen, all on the secondary pages, it makes the content really clean and easy to read. So if you scroll down here, yeah, really nice and clean. Well, that one doesn't have a whole lot of content, but nonetheless, the color palette you've chosen here, I think looks really good. I read through your evangelism page. I love to see your heart. I think God is calling us back to the core foundational elements of the church: evangelism, discipleship, and spreading the gospel. I loved looking at your evangelism. So the content of your site is really good. And I also looked at your, you might consider on the evangelism page, just fleshing that out a little bit, helping us to understand what evangelism looks like. So you've given us kind of the purpose, but maybe give a little bit more for us to understand what evangelism looks like. It's not that the church doesn't want to do evangelism. What I'm finding is the church needs more examples of what it looks like to do evangelism. Same thing for discipleship too. So we know we're supposed to make disciples. We know we're supposed to spread the gospel of Christ. However, there are a lot of people I've met that have a desire that's burning in them to do it, but because they don't know what it looks like in this day and age, they have a hard time getting over that hurdle. So help them out.
The previous one of that whole walk to work idea, I think, is a great example of how.
Yeah.
How does that play out?
Yeah. It's very good. So great job on all of this. I also liked your the quote you had on the youth pages that says, ministering to youth ages 3 through 18. Our mission is to prepare all of our youth to know Jesus Christ and to find their ultimate joy and satisfaction in Him. I mean, that is the gospel right there. I love that. It's not just about the forgiveness of sins. It's about being in the presence of Christ where we find joy and we're completely satisfied in Him. So I love that, how clear that is. And I love that you're sharing that with the youth. So great job on the content there. There are a couple things that stood out to us during the review. So let's go over some of those things. I think it'll help your site have a stronger impact here. The first thing, obviously, we'll probably notice very first right off the bat is the logo. It's missing a name or logo. So I'd recommend, if you have a logo, upload that and put that into place. If not, just use the text. We have 2 options when you hover over that area. When you're logged in, hover over that area, there's a little edit icon. You click that, pops up a little window, and that window has 2 options: just plain text or a logo or an image graphic of your logo that you get to upload. So I would do that. Make sure that people know you have it here on your first slide, which is good, but just make sure that people know what church they've landed on here. And then also the logo serves as a homepage link. So without the logo at the top left, it's kind of hard to know how to get back to the homepage without hitting the back button a bunch of times.
And while we do want creativity, like we want you to be creative on how you utilize it, there are also standards in web design, right? So, the majority of people know, I should say, there are some that don't, but the majority of people know, okay, that logo on the left-hand side or wherever that logo is, when I click there, that takes me back to the homepage. So you want to understand that, yes, we want you to be creative, and it's great that you put the logo down here, which is awesome that you have one. Now, even if it's just putting the church name up here, having that there, so those who are used to those standards, which is the majority, can navigate your site with ease.
Yeah, that sounds good. And we won't spend a whole lot of time in this next one because we've talked about it quite a bit, but there's some background places where you've chosen darker background colors, which is fine. But again, just just make sure that when you do have those darker background image or colors, that you do choose like a light or a white font, which is an option. So again, just a reminder, log in, hover over on that block or that content area, little color menu, and then select the white text or white font color, I think it's called in the menu. So that will really help, with readability. The I'm new here page, let's go to that.
Okay.
That's under welcome.
There we go.
Yeah. Ron has talked about this a lot. We've mentioned this before, but I think this also applies to your site. Videos, doing some videos, some photos of people at your church. Give the people who are visiting a sense of what they're going to expect when they come to your church. You know, anything we do, we get, even coming on here live for the first time with you guys, I was excited about it, but I was also nervous. Why? Because I'd never done it before, and I've never been in this scenario before, and so I didn't know what to expect. And if you gave me what I might expect when coming to your church, it's one hurdle that I don't have to get over. I'm like, oh, okay, I see the pastor's face, I see the church, I see, the environment I'll be in. That's really helpful in breaking down some barriers, getting people to church, especially people who are not familiar with the church. I'm not sure how you grew up. I didn't grow up in the church. I came to Christ when I was in my early 20s. Going to the church building was weird for me. It was really hard to get in the walls. So, excuse me. So to have a page where I could have seen and just kind of get myself more comfortable with what I'd expect when I get there can be a huge barrier for people to get over, especially these days. We're finding more and more generations and multiple generations that have not even been in the church. So having that is crucial to help people get over those barriers. So that's kind of the gist of what I have for you guys. I think it's great. You've done a great job with the site. Just those few comments, and I think you're on a good track. Ron, do you have anything?
No, I mean, honestly, I think we would be echoing some of the things we've said earlier. Ultimately, the end goal here is better attention. And I'm assuming, like was mentioned earlier, walk-ins, having people come and visit your congregation. And you've done a lot of the right things, which is super exciting. Now it's, again, just taking it to the next level. So I think adding those videos, having images that really represent your church well. And I mean, honestly, just the action item that you absolutely have to do is get your church name up in that top left side. So you can easily upload your logo, add your church name. That's one specific action item that you can go and do literally right now, and you can have fixed within 30 seconds. So, a lot of really good stuff here, though. Cool.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Right,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say, Ron, you had a resource, I believe, on a past episode about, wasn't there a place that you guys had for logos? I'm not sure if you guys remember that.
Yes, there was. We'll put that in the show notes. I don't remember what it is right offhand, but we will put that in the show notes so you can go check it out. The cool thing is, I'm going to have, so this is what happens if you don't have that link up here, then the person has to figure out a way to get back to the homepage. But the good news is you have a logo. Now it's just get the name up here. And I know a lot of people like, oh, well, it looks really good right here. And it does. I'm not going to say that it doesn't. And it's great that it looks so good right there, but still put that up here. Mm-hmm. Don't be too worried about it's repetitive and whatever. If this is your church name, you want people to know no matter what page, because obviously this only shows up on the homepage. If I come over here to the men's ministry page, now what?
Yeah.
And a lot of people assume the first page people come to is the homepage. Now, that's true. The majority of the people are going to come to your homepage. However, there's going to be a ton of traffic that you get, especially as you continue to add traffic that isn't to your homepage. How do I know what church I'm on right now? Other than, obviously, this is on the screen, which it wouldn't be on a mobile device. So make sure you have your logo up there. I think we've said that enough and made that point. So ultimately, great job. A lot of really good things. I echo the color palette selection, all of those things. So
real quick on the homepage again, Ron, if you don't mind. Love the photo of the people in your church. That's great. I can't echo that enough. One thing you might consider is, and it's okay to on this one here, but to see faces and smiles is also great too. So I get a sense of the people in your church, but it'd be even nicer to see them facing me, smiling, or just interacting where I can see faces a little bit more. So that's a subtle thing, but it is helpful to see it's a friendly, welcoming environment. Yeah, it's great.
Agreed. Awesome.
Cool. Very
All
good.
right. Well, let's see. On to the last one. Number 5 here. We have got Springfield. Let me put it up here. AME Church.
Yeah.
In Gretna. Hope I'm saying that correctly. Gretna.
Just
Florida.
say what confidence.
I know, right? So I got to work on that confidence thing when saying people's names that I'm not sure how to pronounce. So the goal that was mentioned was to be a resource for membership,
okay,
as well as evangelistic tool for outreach for non-believers and believers. So we've kind of got 2. So the first thing I would say, just when it comes to your goal, is really define what is the number one goal. Is the number one goal to be, we just want to be a communications tool? It doesn't mean you can't do both. So let me just say that. It doesn't mean you can't do both, but be very clear on what is the number one goal, because right now you have multiple goals here. So anyway, just to reiterate that before Mike, you jump in, is the number one goal to be a resource for membership, as well as evangelistic tool for outreach for non-believers and believers. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's good. And that might, I'll just hang on that real quick. That will influence the way that you change the navigation. So we can talk about that a little bit later, but I'll start off with some of the big wins. I love, again, the photos. You have a photo of your church here. The color palette, this is really important. The color palette that you've chosen, the black and red, really highlights kind of what I'm seeing in the photo there too. I'm assuming that maybe this is a part of your brand of the church's color scheme potentially, but the building there that I'm seeing has red highlights, and then your website here has some red accents. So really great job. You've done a good job of picking the right color palette, I believe, for your church. So that's great. Let's see here. Great job on the photos as well. I think seeing the church, seeing people's faces, that one specifically, I love that one. Like the kids and people singing in the background, that's great. Personal images throughout are awesome. Messages, I also noticed that you had messages relevant to COVID. I'm not sure where I saw that, but if it was on the slider or somewhere, but I think that's really important. So keeping your site up to date when relevant things happen in our culture is really important, and it's really easy to do with those sliders. So great job on the COVID and the personal messages regarding that. So let's move over to some things that I think we can change to really help you out here. Let's go to the be in the know slide. So the homepage. Sorry, you clicked away from that and taking you right back.
All right, let's see here. What to expect?
Yeah, so here. This one, and you might have to keep us here on if it keeps rotating, but generally speaking, we probably can't tell on the screen here, but when you visit the site, it's noticeable. You have a preview image from a stock photography site, and so you'll see these diagonal lines kind of going through. It's just a reminder that it's a preview image. It's not supposed to be used for the actual site. So I'd recommend, finding maybe a replacement image that doesn't have the watermark like that. So whenever you're looking for images on the web, make sure that first of all, it's an image you can use legally. And then also that it's a good quality. This one is an example. It's a preview one. We're really not supposed to use those on the main part of the site. It's one of the reasons we actually developed the ChurchSpring library, where we have all of the stock photography there. And we're adding to that. In fact, we're going to announce something about that later, but we've added a bunch of photos that we know you can use. So look through that ChurchSpring library, see if you can find a photo replacement for that one there. And I think that'll put you in a better position there. Let's talk about some image quality here. Go to About Us, the About Us and Leadership page. It might be hard to see again on the screen, but About Us and then the Leadership page here. A couple things I want to talk about. One is, usually we talked about busyness in the background. A lot of times text can create a busy background, especially, it's not a bad thing if we didn't have the word leadership there, but because we do have the word leadership there, and that's really important because we want to identify the page we're on, maybe choosing a photo that doesn't have the text behind it would help it be more readable. And then also you'll notice that it's a little bit fuzzy. The reason is, whenever we take a small image and upload it to a place that it's going to be displayed really large, it gets fuzzy. Okay, so small images that are going in larger, if you scale them up, so small images that get bigger, generally speaking, you're going to see a lot of fuzziness in. The opposite, if you have a really high or big image and it's going to a small space, that won't happen because everything's getting condensed and the pixels are all still there. Here, you're taking little pixels and you're scaling it up, and then now you're starting to see all those individual pixels. It's like when you walk up to a TV and get really close, you can see everything. Well, you used to be able to. Now these days, TVs are so nice. But anyway, so I think just look through image quality. I think another one is ministries and missions page. Just kind of be considerate of finding images that they're going to go to in a large spot. Make sure that you have a big image that you're putting in a large spot. Smaller images, when you scale them up, will get fuzzy like this. So let's see here. Readability. Yep, we already talked about that. Events, if you go to the events is another example. I'll just, for the sake of time, I'll make sure, I think I'm just repeating myself here too. But the events, here's a good example. Sometimes when you, if you were to click on one of those events, it would take you to the specific event page, and then the header would have text behind it. It makes it hard to read. So events and sermons is another area. Well, it looks good on that page, on the list view. When you come to the actual page here, you'll notice that's a little harder to read. So that's what I have for readability. The goal of reaching new people, the I'm new section, we've talked about it before, but I'd recommend it for you as well. The I'm new section, add some videos, some photos of people in your church, really help. Imagine yourself being a new visitor. What would you experience? What would you want to see on this page? What are some hurdles and some barriers you'd want to overcome before you step foot in the door? And then put content on the site that really helps them break down those barriers. But that's it overall. Site looks really good. Again, I think you're doing great work. Those few things should really help. Any thoughts, Ron?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think this is a church that does an amazing job of setting, like, aligning expectations, right? So what you see online really aligns you with what you're going to experience when you walk in those doors that are right there on your screen. So I think keep up the great work. I would just continue to encourage for you to continue in that way. And then, as we've said, and just continue to echo, video, make it as comfortable for them to walk in the door. And you've done an exceptional, I would say, first step in actually using imagery that really represents your church well. So continue doing that, and now just take that up a notch. But amazing job. And I would just say keep up the great work. Even the news section, we've talked a lot about content over the last little bit, and you're doing an incredible job with that. So keep up the great work there. All right. Well, we are an hour and 18 minutes in, and we've got 5 website reviews now complete. So now is the time where it's important to take action. Let me get my banners organized here. So important. Mike and I have given a ton of information, and now it's time to take action. So what is one tip? And I'm going to engage you in the comments. What is one practical thing that you've heard today that, even if it wasn't your site, or maybe it was your site, what is one practical tip we've shared today that you want to implement before next Thursday? So put that in the comments. Let us know what is one thing that you are going to commit to take action on before next Thursday. All right. Let's see. Benjamin, you're welcome, brother.
Yeah,
it's our pleasure to be able to do this.
It was
we look
fun.
forward to doing more of these. Practical. There we go, Ron.
Videos.
Excellent. Add videos. Wonderful.
It seemed like that might be one that applies for everybody.
Yes. Logo on every page. Yes. Text blocks and color palettes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Readability. Yeah.
Better graphic choices. Excellent. Simplified text. Oh, here we go. Good. I'm glad that one landed. Changing content to mobile. So making sure, that's the beauty of a ChurchSpring site. Like, we're going to format it and make it work on a mobile device, but really thinking through okay, what does somebody really need to see on a mobile device, knowing the majority of your visitors are that? And here's one overarching. So this is a free one. Actually, they're all free, but here's another free one. Make sure you have Google Analytics on your church website. If you do not have Google Analytics on your church website, reach out to us. And then it's not just Ron Gibson saying 70% or around there are going to be mobile visitors. You can actually go into Google Analytics and see for yourself what percentage of visitors are actually coming. So there you go. Logo on every page. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say a quick note on that. It's actually really encouraging too. You might think of it as kind of a scientific, stats-driven thing. When I first logged into our church's Google Analytics and saw how many people were listening to sermons, hearing the gospel, not in just our community, but even around the world, people were finding our church. People regularly in other states were listening to our sermons on our page. It's incredibly encouraging. It also helps you to see what's the most important content that people are looking for. So anyway.
Yeah, all right, good. Well, we've got a lot of people getting ready to take action. This is awesome. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so real quickly, if you're watching this, I know we had somebody earlier that said they'd used ChurchSpring and somebody didn't have time to manage it. Now they're going to come back. So if you're new to ChurchSpring, and you are just like, okay, this looks really good. These sites look way better than my church website, and I'd love to be able to find out more. Feel free to join Mike and I. We have a demo every single day. Well, I won't say every single day, except Sundays. We don't do demos on Sundays. Don't make it available. So you can go to churchspring.com/demo and sign up for a time. And Mike will walk you through literally how to go from no church website, or maybe a church website that you don't really feel comfortable and confident in, to creating a ChurchSpring website in less than 90 seconds. Then we actually walk you through all the top features of ChurchSpring. So we'd love to have you join us for that. churchspring.com/demo. And if you have questions there, our team is there to answer any of your questions in the chat. So churchspring.com/demo. And then if you're watching and it's like, man, this is amazing. How can I try this? What can I do to get started? We offer a 7-day free trial where literally you have to make zero commitment to us. You can sign up for a 7-day trial, get in, mess around with it, and see if it's a good fit for you. And if it's not, cancel. If it is, just keep on going with the plan that you've decided on during sign up, and you're ready to roll moving forward. So we're excited to welcome you. And for those that are existing ChurchSpring members, it's just awesome to be able to do these types of things of reviewing your site and telling you how to take it to the next level. So we have got some new features, some updates that we want to talk about. So let me share my screen again. And Mike, why don't you give us a little run through here?
Yeah. So we have a set of 50 new. We've said it's 50, but it's actually, we can't count. It's 63, I believe it is the total number of fall images for you guys to use. Again, relevant content. We've been talking about it a little bit today. ChurchSpring makes it easy to update your website. We're giving you a bunch of new fall images. Back to school, think of back to school, the different events that happen during fall. Hopefully these images will really help you convey the message that you're trying to get across to your visitors. I want to give a shout out to Jen Hockema. You guys might interact with her and support. She has a heart for the church. She has spent a lot of time handpicking these images for you guys. So hopefully it is really beneficial for your church. But beautiful images. Again, everything here that you see is completely free to use on your website. And I think that they are great for everything from sermons to background images. We picked a big variety of things that are up close and detailed, and also more subdued, so you can put them in backgrounds or up front too. So hopefully you guys enjoyed those. And we always have kind of a pitch to ask you guys, what photos do you like to see? We would love to give you the photos you're really looking for. So if you guys have some requests for photos, put that in the comments down there, and we'll take a look at those and make sure that do our best to get more photos that you're looking for in this ChurchSpring library.
Awesome. Yeah, and these images, the ones that we just upload, will automatically be at the top, so you'll have easy access to those here moving forward. So
I gotta show this. This is awesome. This is awesome. Reverend Johnny, you know me. I know what it is about me. People like kidding me, but this is Isabel's job is safe. Believe me. Believe me, I totally agree. So I hope it has been beneficial, but I, like you, I'm looking forward to Isabel being back. Thanks for being willing to share that. That's funny. I love it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so awesome. Well, they always say when you give people a hard time, it means you really love them. So that's great. All right. All right. Well, I'm just scanning back through here real quick. See if there's any questions that we missed. It looks like we've got the majority of the things covered. So, awesome. Well, now it's time to take action. It's time to take those things that you've put that you're committing to, put those into action. We would love for you to come back and either share a comment on our blog for this episode or even come back to this video specifically and share a link. Share it to your site where we can check that out. And we would absolutely love that. So, our pleasure, Ron. Nothing that would make us more happy than to go and check out your website.
Oops. Looks like we're breaking up here a little bit. So if you guys can still hear me, yeah, it has been our pleasure. It was a ton of fun.
There we go.
The site. You back, Ron? All right. I was just going to say, it has been a ton of fun to look through the site. Incredibly encouraging. So go ahead, Ron.
Yes. Awesome. All right. So next week, we're continuing the series on live streaming, and we're going to tell you, and Siri decided to pop up because she thinks I'm talking to her. So next week, we're continuing the series, and we're going to talk through how to take your live streaming even up another notch. Literally next week, I'm going to share with you the exact equipment that we use at our church to live stream our services. So the camera, the encoder, the things we use to switch, all of the tools and the recipe for success to take your live stream to the next level. We are going to share that next week in episode 014. So you absolutely do not want to miss that episode. Man, it's been great. It's been so awesome hanging out with you.
That Ron brings in the smart people when you guys are doing all this technical stuff, and when you're talking about colors and whatever, I get my show. So yeah, they'll bring Isabel in with all the brains. You guys will take care of the hard stuff. So
awesome, very good. Any last final thoughts, Mike, before we jump off?
No, it's been a total pleasure. Thank you guys for letting me join you here. I love seeing the interaction. I really hope these help you. It seems like it is beneficial to you guys, so we want to continue to do that. So thanks for the feedback and encouragement. Love you guys, and continue to work for the gospel. Love it. Love what you guys are doing. Very encouraged by you guys.
Yes, it's truly a blessing to serve you all. We're in the fight with you. So have a great rest of your Thursday. Man, my days are all mixed up. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Can't wait to see you next week. Same time for episode 14 of ChurchSpring Live. We cannot wait to jump into leveling up and going to that next level with your live stream. So until then, God bless you all, and we look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Is your church website a source of pain and frustration? Well, I have great news for you. Those days are over. I'm Ron Gibson, the co-founder of ChurchSpring, and I'm excited to show you the most intuitive, affordable, and yes, frustration-free church website platform on the planet. Welcome to ChurchSpring. Organizing your navigation has never been easier. With our inline editing and drag and drop capabilities, you can reorganize your menus in no time. Want to add a slider to the homepage? Simply select a slider layout, customize the content, click Save, and you're done. Ready to take your homepage up a notch by adding a video background? Just go to the background menu, choose the video you want, and that's it. You're ready to go. See something that needs updated on your website? No need to mess with a difficult back-end system. Just click on the content, make your changes, click Save, and it's live. Is managing your church calendar a time-consuming and painful endeavor? With ChurchSpring, managing your online church calendar is an absolute breeze. Click to add an event, enter the details, add registration if desired, set it to repeat if needed, and click Save. It's incredibly simple. Now it's time to leverage the power of social media to promote your event, sermon, or blog post. With the ChurchSpring Social Scheduler, simply create your social media posts in seconds and will automatically post to your ministry social media channels. Isn't that awesome? Just think of all the time this powerful feature will save you. Do you live video stream your services? No problem. That's integrated into the settings of each event. Update it and the countdown clock begins. Adding sermons to your site or podcast feed doesn't have to be as strenuous as writing them. Just choose your file, add some details while it uploads, click save, and it's ready to play. But Ron, what happens when I'm ready to give my website a fresh new look? I'm glad you asked. As a member of ChurchSpring, you get full access to our entire library of premium church website designs. You can simply click and change your website's entire design with just a click of a button. It's really that easy. This is just a quick sampling of ChurchSpring's many powerful features. Want to see more? Great. Visit churchspring.com/demo to join me for an in-depth look at more of ChurchSpring's top features such as online giving, live video streaming, and much, much more. Visit us online at churchspring.com/demo. Welcome to the most intuitive, affordable, and yes, frustration-free church website platform on the planet. Are you ready to go? Great. Sign up for your 7-day free trial now and launch your brand new church website in just 90 seconds flat. Simply visit churchspring.com/go to launch your new website.